Hey guys, how's it going? So our regular intro will start in just a moment, but we wanted to give you a little bit of an update on this episode.
So it's been a little bit since we recorded this one, right? And so when we recorded this, it's before the last 2 weeks of massive changes in our lives happened.
Right.
But we still believe it's valuable content that will definitely help you.
Yeah. I mean, this interview honestly is going to change the way I do reselling once things get back to normal. In the interview, even I talk about going to Uganda, which obviously is not happening right now. But when you listen to the things that Jen has to say, she's going to change the way I resell. I know she has a big impact on the way Orlando's going to be reselling. So you're going to get a lot of great information on this. Also, we had a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning.
Yeah, just a little bit here and there.
The first 8 minutes, we had a little bit of cutting in and out on the audio. And we ended up having Jen call in and then that got fixed. So please listen to the first 8 minutes. It's definitely worth it, even with the occasional breaking out and things like that. But if you're watching this, you'll see there's a little bit of issues, or if you're listening. But once we get through this, then the remainder of the episode runs really smoothly.
Agreed. And also, by the way, the items that she's talking about are items that are still selling now.
That's right.
Right. And especially those of us that were banned from non-essentials on Amazon, a lot of the stuff she talks about are essentials, right? So it's definitely worth a listen. Hey, maybe to distract you, maybe to pick up your game right now, or maybe in the future. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for staying with us. Make sure to stay safe, stay positive. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling late.
And the episode begins.
Here we go.
Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando. And we're on episode possibly 131.
I thought you said 133. Oh, 131? Was that it?
131.
We're recording this episode a little early in advance, so we hope that it'll drop on a specific date and time. And if the episode number is wrong, then we could just blame Orlando because he's the one that always messes up.
We could put like that little censoring sound, like right after I said episode, it'll beep. And people like wonder, what did I just say?
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yeah. Sure.
Would it keep the pure hustle?
I mean, they'll just know you probably messed up again, so it'll be fine.
All right, there we go.
But anyways, we are on another one of our hustle sessions. We got a great interview lined up for you today. So Orlando, you want to tell us a little bit about our guest today?
Yeah, so we all the time, you see these, you always see people out flexing on Instagram, right? So I'm always like, here's my Harley gear. Mike's like, here's my board games. People are like, here's my Nike shoes. Then there's this random like, I sold aloe vera for $100. And you're like, what is this? Like, where does this come from? And so I haven't seen her on any YouTube or heard of her on a podcast. I'm like, we need to bring her on because she is someone who will definitely bring value. And not only that, it's just it's a whole new world. She gives me hope in the reselling world. So,
like that.
I know we said a lot. So, hey, Jen, Thrift to Travel, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're about.
Okay, so my name is Jen, and I go by Thrift to Travel on Instagram and YouTube. And I sell on eBay, Mercari, Amazon, Poshmark, and I just started ThreadUp. So I'm kind of like all over the place right now.
Nice. That's a lot of platforms. Which one's your favorite?
I go between eBay and Amazon, honestly. Amazon for the money and eBay for the flexibility and just randomness of it all. So, yeah, it's hard to say.
Okay, so give us little bit. I've been really intrigued by, you just show up on the scene. Like I just see Instagram posts, but I don't know the story behind it, right? Because everybody, when they start reselling, usually it's something that they've seen on YouTube or something, but I really haven't seen the stuff that you sell. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Like when did you start reselling or what got you hooked and what led to now?
Okay, so I won Starbucks for a year, like coffee for a year, like 5-6 years ago. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to do with all this coffee?
Wait. You won Starbucks for a year?
Yeah. So you know how Starbucks has like the games that you can play? So anyway, so I ended up winning and I'm like, what am I going to do with all this coffee? I can't drink all this coffee. So I started selling it on eBay and that's how I got hooked.
Nice. That's one of the most unique stories I've ever heard.
I've never heard of anybody winning.
Yeah, I know a lot of people try. That's weird though, because I know I never win anything, but I have quite a few friends who've won some stuff. So that's pretty interesting that you, one, were able to win one of those like sweepstake things, and two, that you didn't just, because I always wonder that sometimes it's like, McDonald's is having free double cheeseburgers for life. And it's like, yeah, who's going to use that? And what are the stipulations? But it's kind of cool to think like you were actually able to do something with all that extra coffee.
So what is it, just the coffee, or could you also get drinks every time you showed up?
So how it was is they sent me coupons. So it was for the Keurig pods. So I could get like a box of 12, like every day for a year or something. I don't know. It was something. So, yeah. And so I didn't even have a Keurig machine. And so I was like, I'm just going to sell this on eBay. And then like, I just became instantly fascinated by the whole thing of reselling and making money. And that's where it all started.
So had you never sold anything on eBay before that?
That was my first thing.
Wow.
Wow. And so were you like the Keurig queen? Like, was it like everybody came to you because they knew you had the pods? Is that how it worked on eBay?
Yeah. So it was crazy because, Keurig hasn't been around that long. If you think about it, the pods haven't really been around that long. And so I was flipping just strictly Starbucks K-Cups, and people were just like swarming to eBay to buy them. I don't know if they weren't able to find them in their stores, what was happening, but it was like, it was insane. So, yeah.
Okay. So
that started.
No, so while you're selling those, though, are you slowly going, I wonder if there's other things I can sell, or did you just do that until you ran out?
Yeah, so I ran out of the pods, and then I was like, well, I can't stop. I mean, this was so much fun. I loved it. I loved the shipping. I loved the money, everything. So that's when I started hitting up all the thrift stores and finding stuff flip on the internet. And so, yeah, and then it has gotten so much bigger and bigger time. Crazy now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, so thrift stores. So that's kind of my favorite place to go. I love going to thrift stores and garage sales and picking up stuff. And you clearly now are doing, like you said, more Amazon, and that's kind of how you're making the bulk of your money. Is the thrift store hunt though still something that's part of how you resell?
Yeah, honestly, it just depends on the mood that I'm in. So either I'm in a thrift store mood and that's all I want to do for the day, or I want to do all retail arbitrage, and so I'll have a day of just doing retail. So it's really hard for me to do both in one day. So it just depends on my mood, really, honestly. So it's hard to say, but thrifting is always like such a good stress reliever for me, and I just enjoy going down the aisles and see what I can find, and yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Okay, so what was the first thing you sold outside of K-Cups? I'm just interested.
I think one of my oddest things I've ever sold was, so hopefully you don't, so Scientology. I didn't know anything about Scientology. I was at Value Village and I found an e-meter machine. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. Okay, so you know how Tom Cruise, they have all those advertisements of Tom Cruise like holding those cans?
Mm-hmm.
So I found an e-meter machine at Value Village that paying $20 for it, and I sold it for $300 on eBay.
Hey, can you repeat that? Because it was breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, breaking up just a little bit.
Am I? Oh, okay. So I don't know. You want me to repeat? But
no. So you found an e-meter, right? And you found that at Value Village. How much did you pay for it at Value Village?
$20.
$20?
Yeah, $20.
Okay. And then it's and it sold for $300. You said.
So I ended up selling it on eBay for like $300. So it was just like probably one of the weirdest things that I've ever flipped before, because who's out buying e-meter or picking up e-meter machines at Value Village?
So what keywords did you use? I'm interested. Did you put Scientology, e-meter, like
Tom Cruise?
Like, yeah. Did you throw Tom Cruise in there?
Yeah. I probably did. Yes. So yeah.
Wow. That is a random. Okay, Jen, that's random. Like, most people are like, oh, I found this Hawaiian shirt or I found this pair of shoes, but you found an e-meter. I've never even seen one in real life.
Yeah. No, that's kind of an interesting thing and a cool one to find for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Yeah. And I had enough, like I didn't have a care in the world. I'm like, I'm going to throw this up on eBay and see what happens, So that's what I love about eBay. It's just so random. You can put anything on there and there's going to be a buyer for it. I think it's just awesome. I love it so much.
Okay. So then you started... Yeah, I've watched some of your videos. You had mentioned you enjoy selling men's clothes over women's clothes. And you had mentioned, you look at, I would say, expired, discontinued stuff, and we'll share that in a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about, was there anything that became your niche like at that time, or was it just pretty much anything you could find?
So I've always been really, so in Washington State, you can the thrift stores have beauty. Like they have a huge section of beauty products that you can buy at the thrift store, used and new. And so that has just really become my niche just because there's so much of it here. I have traveled like all over the country, and I know that other states don't have what we have here in Washington with the beauty products that you buy at thrift stores. But there is such a great markup for selling beauty, especially discontinued beauty products that women can't buy anymore. So I've made a lot of money doing that, just thrifting strictly beauty products instead of like clothes or or
All right. So we were experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties there. And in order to make sure that we have the best quality for all of you listeners, we have decided to have Jen call in. And so she's on the phone now. We've got her picture on the screen. So
Just
if you're
keeping
watching
it real.
on YouTube, yeah,
That's
right.
how we do it.
That's right. We got to be real. You know, sometimes things don't run perfectly, but you've got to adapt. And hey, that's like a good lesson, even in reselling in life, right? You got to
There you go.
adapt.
You make it happen.
That's right. So Orlando, I think you had a question you were asking.
Exactly.
I was going to take the bad bananas, you make them into milkshakes.
Isn't it banana bread? You make milk-
Banana bread. That's what it is. Banana bread. What a way to start. Okay. All right. So I don't know how much of this question got caught before everything went down, but so I had noticed on some of your videos, you know, you had shared that you pick up, and we've talked about this just now, some used stuff that sells well, but there's some things, right, that you would say are, you don't pick up. And why is that, Jen?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's against eBay policy. So you can't sell like lipstick, foundation, eyeshadow, mascara, those products you won't be able to sell used. And you probably wouldn't want to anyway, because you might give somebody a disease without knowing it, or So, but you're perfectly okay with they're basically, eBay says as long as the applicator doesn't touch the other person who's ever buying your product, doesn't touch their skin, then you're okay to sell it. So, so like a mascara wand, the wand would touch someone's, eyelashes, and the lipstick would touch, the wand, whatever. The tube would touch someone's lips. So you're okay with like shampoo, conditioner, because, you squirt that on your hand and then you, whatever.
Yeah.
Put it in your hair and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's almost like common sense if you think about it. Just like, if you wouldn't want to share that kind of stuff. So that stuff you can't really sell used. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I have no problem. Like, hey, can I borrow, some shampoo or, something like that? That's not the same as, can I borrow your stick of deodorant? There's some differences there.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be kind of
direct
weird.
contact. Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. So, hey, let's get back to products in a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about your model of reselling, right? Because I'm sure everybody's wondering, how much can you make, and is it worth it? Like, do you need to have different niches and so on? So what does your model look like? Like, do you have like a set schedule during the week? Are you part-time? Are you full-time? Are you fast nickel, slow dime? Can you break down some of that for us?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I actually have a full-time job. I work 9 to 5. And I do reselling is like my hobby, my fun money, my savings account. I tell people that I do it part-time, but, honestly, I feel like I probably put more work and thought into it than I do my full-time job.
Yeah.
Because, reselling is, you have people emailing you in the middle of the night. I mean, you're selling stuff in the middle of the night. You're selling stuff on Sundays. I mean, so it does take a lot more work. It's more than just Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, 8 to 5, whatever. So reselling for me is actually, I say part-time, but I think it's probably a lot more for me than that. And that's okay, because I love it so much that I don't view it as, I don't know. It's just, I just love it. So I probably do it a lot more than I say that I do.
No, I think to everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty normal too for, like you said, for people who are part-time is you're right. Like, even in your 9 to 5 job, you're often, sending offers or accepting offers, and, maybe you've got a few extra minutes, so you're listing things. I don't know if any of my bosses listen to this, so I'm not going to say that there's times when I'm at my computer, doing a few things, but, I'm sure it happens.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that, but yeah.
So when you price your
That's
things,
reality.
Jen,
Yeah.
do you list high? Are you looking like at the middle of the market, bottom of the market? Is there a quick turnaround because some of this stuff is expired? Like, what does that look like?
So for me, I'm probably one of the most patient resellers there is out there. And I just kind of gauge that from what people say on Instagram. I'm not always looking for that quick buck. Like, I don't mind hanging on to a product because I know that it's discontinued. And this is really how it works with discontinued products, is the supply and demand. So I don't mind listing things high and just waiting for the people that maybe want to price it lower than me sell out, and I just kind of hold on. So I prefer like that long-term dime. And then there is other people that will even hold out things longer than I will and make even more extra money. So, but yeah, I'm more long-term, unless there's something happening and I want to go on a trip or something. And so then I'll start letting things go a little bit under what I normally would, just because I want cash because I'm going to go somewhere or whatever. So it's kind of nice to have that flexibility when you sell discontinued products. You kind of just get to name your own, how you want to kind of do things, honestly, how you want to price products. So
do you have a set schedule of sourcing? Like, you rotate each week, or you're kind of like, hey, I feel like going here today, and you find stuff? Is that how it works for you?
I try to pop in, like, so I source a lot at grocery stores, so I kind of incorporate it with, I better pick up something for dinner. And then I'll
stores.
I'll head to the beauty aisle and then totally forget why I went there to get dinner. But I do a lot of sourcing at grocery stores. I pick up a lot of discontinued products at grocery stores. I don't think people just don't realize that it's out there. So, but it is.
See, for me though,
beg people to go look.
When I think about grocery stores, I think of like super expensive prices, right? Like, for instance, for me, I'd rather drive, like, my grocery store is like a minute away, but I'd rather drive the 10 minutes away to go to Walmart or another store nearby, that because it's cheaper. But you're saying that the prices are good enough to make profit at the grocery store.
Yeah, for sure. Well, probably just my grocery store. I mean, it just depends on what area you're in.
Don't ever disclose where you're at, Jen.
Yeah. So, I mean, I flew into San Diego last spring, and I went to San Ysidro. I went down to grocery outlet. I went all up and down I-5 right in there, and I found so much stuff in San Diego at your grocery stores. You guys have this health market, this healthy grocery store in Point Loma. And I found so much stuff there. It was crazy. So you guys have it. I mean, I feel like it's everywhere. People just don't know to look for it.
And now we ruined it because we're sharing it on our podcast.
You know what health food I'm talking about in Point Loma? I don't know.
Probably Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is a big one.
No, Trader Joe's.
She knows Trader Joe's. How about we just leave it at that?
Yeah.
Okay. And if people want to go on the hunt,
go find it. Yeah.
I'm going to give away all your secrets.
I don't know what you're doing after this, Mike. But I'm taking a little trip.
We're going to the grocery store.
Okay, so wow, that's what I mean. It gives me hope, because for me, it's like, hey, if clothing gets saturated, I can find something here. If electronics get saturated, if this gets, you bring a different angle than pretty much anybody we've had on the podcast up until this point.
Oh, okay.
Right? And this is why we thought it'd be great to have you on. Now, with that though, you saw on Amazon, and I have my concern with Amazon, because Amazon, I remember at one point in time, I was trying to do topicals, and I knew a lot of people that were getting cease and desist letters for that. Have you experienced any of that?
Yeah. So I will say, like, I get a lot of cease and desist letters through eBay. Like, it's coming through messages. And so it's like some random company. I don't know what they're doing. If they have employed people to send other sellers messages with a letter attached to it. So basically with eBay, if eBay doesn't want you to sell a product, they will remove the listing. So typically with eBay, if I get those random messages attached, a PDF or whatever of some cease and desist letter, I always ignore it. the only person that I listen to on eBay is eBay. And so with Amazon, that's a whole different beast. So actually with Amazon, you get a cease and desist letter. It's going to come to you FedEx to your house, and then you have to sign for it. So that way the lawyer knows that you did receive it. Those are a little bit more scary. So what do I say about those? I usually will take my listing down if I get that FedEx letter sent to me directly from a lawyer's office.
How common is that though? Is it like, are you saying like maybe 1% of the time, or is it a frequent thing?
Well, I just got my first one, just came to me a couple weeks ago. I know other people actually get them from different products. So people that, like, a lot of people were selling, the Necco is the same company that does Necco Sprangler. I think that's what it's called. They were selling the Conversation Heart candies back before the factory, right after the factory closed. They were getting cease and desist letters sent to them to stop selling the candy.
After the factory closed.
Yeah, after the factory closed. So it's not always just beauty products.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and I just wonder about that. No, but on Amazon, right? I mean, how long have you been selling on Amazon, Jen?
I just really started hitting it pretty hard, like March 2019, so not very long. Amazon is scary. I don't know, how long. Like, I don't know. People just don't last forever like they do on eBay, honestly.
It's
Amazon
funny.
is...
Go ahead, keep going. No, you're saying something about Amazon. We're just laughing because we did a reactionary video about Amazon. And I think some of the consensus was that Amazon is scary. But so tell me though,
scary.
But so we hear all the time from people saying Amazon I'm gated and everything. I'm brand new. I can't find anything. And you're in a field that I would think is highly gated. Are you saying that you've been able to find a lot of stuff that you're ungated in?
Well, it took me like it's taken me a while to get to that point. Like I was selling when I first started selling on Amazon was back like in 2016, but it was just really random. And I was only selling Starbucks on there. And so it's taking me this point, 2019, I got ungated in topicals, but I didn't have a professional account. I would just throw up listings here and there, really just random. But if you're really consistent with it, I would say about 6 months it would take to get ungated in topicals. If you're like listing on there and selling and shipping and, maintaining those metrics and, it takes probably about 6 months to get ungated in topicals if you put some little bit of effort into it.
Nice. And are you doing FBA or are you doing merchant fulfilled for those?
So I actually do both. And now I'm starting to do a lot more fulfilled by merchant because the returns are so high when you do FBA. Like people will just return, like just make up these horrible excuses. And so I got really tired of it. What I got tired of is that certain products, I'm like, no, you're not going to do that to that product. I'm not going to let you. So meaning that I put in a lot of effort and time to go find it. And so the products that I become like emotionally attached to, which I know you shouldn't do as a reseller, but it happens. I do fulfillment by merchant. That way, if they return it to me, they have to pay a 20% restocking fee if it comes back in the condition I sent. And if it comes back missing the package or whatever, then they get a 50% restocking fee. So that it makes me feel a little bit better.
Nice. More justice, right? They can't just make stuff up.
Yeah, it's like, justice for my time, basically. So I don't know. I know that's horrible, and that's not what.
Oh, you run a business.
Resellers should. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, good. Well, so I mean, you mentioned already a couple times like how you are sourcing, and you say, when you travel or you've traveled down to San Diego, and it seems like traveling is something you do. I mean, it's in your name, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
So what I discovered was, it kind of just started with me. Like I flew to Paris to get the Starbucks mugs, and because I could sell them for a lot of money on eBay and Amazon. And then
wait, let's rewind a little bit. You flew to Paris to get mugs, or you flew to Paris and got mugs?
I flew to Paris to buy mugs. I think I was there
Nice.
like 24 hours. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Explain to me.
Yeah.
So the cost of flying to Paris was worth it to you to get the mugs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because the thing is too with me is that I have a 9 to 5, so like we'll have like a paid holiday, and so I always try to incorporate. Okay, I'm going to be gone. I have to go get out of town. So it's hard for me to like take time off work, like big chunks of time. So I always try to like when they give us like an extra day, like a 3-day, 4-day weekend, I always try to go somewhere, take advantage of it. So if you're ever in Paris definitely pick up the Starbucks mugs. They flip really fast and easy back here in the States.
Nice. So how are you, just out of curiosity, what does the logistics of that look like? So, I mean, mugs are obviously maybe an extreme example because they're breakable and they take up quite a bit of space. But how are you getting stuff back? Are you like doing luggage? Are you packaging and actually shipping? Like, what does that look like for somebody who might say, you know what, I want to do a little bit of traveling.
I want to go to Paris and
but
get
I want
to
to source. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I do is the mugs come onto the plane with me, and my husband usually comes with me. So we go to the store, and they have the reusable shopping bags, and we'll just fill those up, and then that's our carry-on. Instead of like having a carry-on, we just put the mugs overhead, and off we go.
Wow.
Now you did some sightseeing in between all that, right? You didn't just like go to Starbucks, get on a plane, and hop back. Okay.
Yeah, no. We go see the Eiffel Tower and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah. So,
and that's an interesting thing too, because I was just thinking like, okay, like, well, why would people just not in Paris be buying the mugs and shipping them? But if you think about it, it's because nobody wants to buy the stuff from overseas because the shipping is so expensive and all of that. So if you're bringing it back into the States, the demand is going to be higher here for people, wanting to be able to buy it within the States. So I think that's actually a very like clever way of thinking of, hey, I'm going to go somewhere exotic or somewhere far away, knowing that, that stuff might only cost a little bit there, but to ship it to America is expensive. So you're kind of taking on the shipping cost, but you're actually getting to enjoy the trip at the same time. That's genius.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just gives me a break from like the 9 to 5 and just getting out of town and So that's one example. Yeah, that's what we do.
Okay, so I've noticed on your Instagram, you've gone to a ton of places, right? Like you can go, you have your highlights, and I'm like, wow, she went there. Out of all those places, what would you say? And obviously, we're not gonna have a bunch of like resellers buy plane tickets and go source there. Which was your favorite place to go to and why? And which was your favorite place to source and why?
Okay, so the Caribbean, hands down, there's so many islands, and so the opportunities are endless. And my goal is to go to every single island there is and just buy as much discontinued products as I can. I'm just really obsessed about it right now. We went to St. Lucia. So we flew into St. Martin, and we were there for a couple of days, and then filled up. I went to every single grocery store on the island, and I found so much stuff. And then we packed it up. So what I did was I went to like a shipping place there and bought like a cardboard box, and I put all the product in there. And then I just checked the box onto the plane, and we flew to Atlanta, and then took an Uber to FedEx the box home. And then the next day we jumped on another plane and head to St. Lucia. And unfortunately, we didn't have a rental car because the time of year was like Christmas time, New Year. So there was no rental cars. So I had to just like foot it to all these different pharmacies that were by the resort and just did it all over again. And I would say that the Caribbean is like a time warp. Like they don't get like the newest and greatest beauty products. They want to sell what they already have. And then they'll probably get more in it because it gets so expensive to have stuff shipped over there. So it's like a gold mine for discontinued beauty products, shampoo, toothpaste. I mean, you name it. It's just like, oh my gosh. Household products. Another thing that I bought in the Cayman Islands was all this household products that I sold on Amazon made a lot of money on that. So I would say anybody that goes to the Caribbean, I've already pretty much, I would say don't go to St. Martin because I've wiped them out. But any other
So interesting.
Yeah, this is one of the most intrigued I've ever been on an interview. I'm thinking to myself, because I'm going to Uganda. Actually, probably by the time this is releasing, I'm probably already in Uganda. But I'm planning on going to Uganda for a trip. And it's different because it's a third world country, and I'm not looking. It's not going to probably have the same types of stuff. But even with that, I know that there are like ministries and groups there that do. Like ladies will make baskets and they sell it to help their villages, and like those types of things could potentially be like a mutual thing, right? Like I'm helping them, and then those things could sell here. But I'm just so intrigued with the idea of being able to go somewhere, pay for the trip, and stimulate the local economy too. I mean, you're doing a lot of good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. I love it. It's just great. Like I go into like, I don't go into where all the tourists are. I'm going into like places where they're like kind of, oh, why is she in here or whatever, but not in a bad way, but just like, off the beaten path or whatever. And I'm like spending $500 on all this toothpaste, and they're just like, thank you. And I'm like, no, thank you. I mean, it's like a two-way street here. So
it's so, this is so wild to me.
I love supporting the locals.
So do people, what you're saying, okay, can you give us an example if you want? I'm not saying you have to share your bolo, but like a household product, because I'm thinking of household products. Like, are we talking about like I know some items that are hot are kind of like wood polish kind of stuff that have been discontinued, stuff like that. Is that what you're talking about? Like, is there something you could share? Like, give us an example. And if you don't want to, we totally understand, because we're about not sharing if you can't share.
Oh no, it's fine. It's this it's these packets. It's this refill thing that I just shared it on Instagram. But so it's something people clean with their stove. It's like moist. I can't think of the name right now. Wipes or whatever, and it comes in a foil package. And there's like 6 per package. Anyway, there's a lot of people that can find it at East Hardware. But we were selling them for like $40 for a pack of 6. These stove wipe things. I don't know. So when I went to the Cayman Islands, there was a grocery store that had a bunch of them. So, and that's easy to get back home because they're in a foil package and they're not going to leak. And just random, stuff like that.
So what does it look like though when you're trying to go through like customs and you've got all this stuff and like you're claiming these things that you're bringing back? Like what does the process of that look like? And do you have tips and tricks for any of our listeners who might be like, you know what, I'm taking a vacation, I'm going to go visit Japan or wherever they're going to go. What can they expect as they're dealing with going through customs and claiming that type of stuff?
So I would say, do research whatever country you're going to and check to see how much you can bring back without paying duty on. So like when you go to the Caribbean, it's $800 per person. And then you don't have to pay any duty on that. So when you go through customs, the main things that they're looking for is alcohol, tobacco, food, and animals. And so if you're not carrying any of those 4 things, you're pretty much okay. Yeah. And so you just want to tell them, hey, I went to Starbucks and I'm bringing back some bucks.
Nice.
Now, but if it's
whatever.
But since 9/11,
and I have had TSA go. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. You're about to answer the question I was about to ask. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So TSA has gone through my luggage before, my check bag, because they'll leave they're required to like let you know, like, hey, your bag was searched or whatever, and so they'll put in this pamphlet thing saying we searched your bag. So they have searched, like, probably because I had a bunch of toothpaste in there. They probably just wanted to make sure it was toothpaste in the tubes and not powder or whatever.
Yeah, makes
sense. So have you found like tubes squeezed? Is that how you know, or is it because they just left you a note?
No. They didn't do any. They didn't open the toothpaste, or maybe they just didn't peek inside. I don't know, but they just left a thing in there saying, a form saying, hey, we went through your suitcase. We inspected it.
So you're saying the best sourcing for you has not been in the States. It's actually been outside of the States. Is that what you're saying? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because the Caribbean, like I said, is like time has stopped. basically. So, because they don't, once they get this product in, it's not going to end up in a landfill like it would here probably, just throw it out. We don't want it. We're the next newest beauty products coming in. So we got to make room on the shelf for it. It doesn't happen over there. It's totally different.
Okay,
It's just too expensive. It's just too expensive to have the products rotating through like they do here in the States. The newest thing will come up, the newest hair product. And so let's make room on the shelf for that and get rid of what's there. That doesn't happen over there. So that's why it's such a gold mine to go over there.
So does the American dollar carry a lot more, and our prices? So for example, I know some people I had friends of mine that went to El Salvador, and the price of like milk was the same as it was here, but their money was way less valuable than our dollar here. Do you find that same scenario? Are the prices the same as they would be here, or are they cheaper? And does the American dollar carry more?
I would say everything over there is a lot more expensive.
Oh,
for sure. Yeah. Yep. Especially in the Cayman Islands, because you're paying Cayman dollars, which is a little bit higher than the euro. So yeah. So you just got to think about that too.
But it's still profitable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yes. For sure.
Okay. And when you talk margins, I'm asking all these questions because part of me is like, I want to go to the Caribbean now because I've never been. And if I could pay my way, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Are you talking about 50%? Are you talking about 100% margin? Like doubling your money? Is that what's it look like?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So there was some hair product that I bought and I paid $6 and I was selling it on Amazon for $60. So yeah. So it's pretty insane. Like it's pretty remarkable, you guys, to be honest with you.
All right. And I can't say we're gonna kill the market because it's gonna take a lot. I mean, let alone going to a thrift store. No. People don't go, but people aren't gonna hop on a plane and go to St. Martin's or down to the Cayman Islands and go sourcing.
It's fine. And they should. And actually, I have some people actually that live or have family. They'll send me videos at the grocery store and they'll show me all this stuff. And they're like, "Oh, we're buying it, and I'm going to send it home so my family in the States can sell it. Thank you, Jenny, for letting us know."
Oh wow!
Gosh, I forgot what island it was. It was some island right next to Aruba. Anyway, I was just like so happy. I mean, go for it. I want people to. It's there. They should take advantage of it. They just So I'm glad the word's getting out. So
yeah, and that's good. And I like too how you mentioned because I think I'm just thinking if I'm a listener, there's probably something like, oh, but you're taking product that those people need. But like you mentioned, you're stimulating the economy there, and there's people there who can do the same thing. And when there's an economic transaction happening like that, they're now going to be able to get more product in, the newer stuff in. So it's not like you're taking the things that like the locals need because you're providing the money that they can now get more things, right?
Right. Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. That's so true. Because now you take all the stuff off the shelf, there's shelf space, and now they can get the newest thing in. Yeah. So that's so true.
Have you ever been?
No, actually,
Sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
Sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh man, I've been interrupting like
crazy. You're just jumping in there along.
Everyone that's listening, my apologies. I'm super pumped about this episode.
And normally you're cutting me off. Now you're cutting our guest off.
I know. So, okay. So now I can't remember my question. Oh, here's my question is, has anybody ever refused to sell to you? So, here we get stores like Target and so on. They're like, oh, we're not going to sell to resellers. Have you encountered any of that when you've been buying internationally?
No. No.
Okay.
I haven't.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Now,
that is good.
Obviously the cosmetics are like kind of your bread and butter, and you mentioned not going to like touristy places. Have you ever like tried your hand? I mean, I think Starbucks mugs might be an example of that. But when you do go to some places like the Caribbean islands, you're going to have the tourist sections where they have, the odds and ends, trinkets and things like that. Would you say that that's a potential place that you could be sourcing to and then selling those types of things in the States? Or is that something where maybe that's not where you want to be looking?
Not like in the touristy like shops where they try to sell the trinkets, but like the pharmacies around the touristy places are probably a good sourcing spot. Yeah, so I would say I don't pick up any like trinkets or, I mean, I do source in the touristy spots just because they have like grocery stores and pharmacies and stuff. But yeah.
So stay away from trinkets is what you're saying.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would. Or I just haven't found that niche yet. There might be something there that I haven't even discovered. So.
Right. Yeah, because I was thinking about that. Like I went to Nepal years and years ago, and I loved going through the tourist section and buying like the shawls and things like that. And they had the really cool ones from like, made out of like a special type of wool. And I'm just wondering, like they do pretty decent prices there. But I was like, I wonder if this stuff is like valuable in the States or if like our markets are flooded and it's not. But I like the idea of thinking outside of the box and not getting stuck into these are the things you buy when you're in the Caribbean islands. But it's like, no, buy the same things you normally buy, but just you're getting it at a different place and stuff that you probably can't get where we're at. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely. Yeah. You just would have to figure out the country and what. Yeah.
All right. Let's take
I mean,
it
it's
back.
just like you're always just learning. Like it's always something new.
Oh, definitely learning on this podcast. We're definitely
for sure.
All right. So let's bring it back.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think. You have me like intrigued. Like I'm trying to think to myself, what could he find in Uganda? I'm like so excited for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. If you think of something, let me know. Send me a DM before I go so I can be on the lookout. That'd be great if I could pay my way.
Yeah. There has to be. Yeah.
All right, so let's bring it back to the States, just because I know some of our listeners, like, we're not going to travel, like, we're just trying to make it.
Yeah.
But again, Jen has provided an avenue that, like, if you never traveled, this is a way for you to be able to travel, right? I mean, this is pretty good. I mean, I myself, I'm thinking, hey, I might have a week off in the summer that I'll just go sourcing somewhere and buy some stuff. Now, in the States, so we shared a little bit about thrift stores and we talked about, discontinued items and what to look for and so on. In the retail arbitrage world, number one, obviously it's a little bit more competitive. But to me, so I've gone to those off-price stores and I go there and I've done the scanning with my phone. I've done the eBay research and, I hate it when people say this because it's like, no, there's stuff there, but I say I don't find anything. So how do you know? Like, is there any telltale signs about, okay, this RA item is something I should actually spend my time researching?
Right. So you know what? I feel how you do about a lot of those discount stores like Big Lots and Grocery Outlet and stuff. I'm starting to like stay away from those places now, just because the competition is it's just getting really bad, especially on Amazon. But there is like the smaller type discount stores that aren't like most people don't really think about or even consider, that have like a bunch of expired food and they're kind of just like you wouldn't want to buy anything to eat there or drink there or whatever. But they have really good like beauty products and like this one discount store I went to. I just cleared out the shelf of all the shoe polish that I've been flipping. So I would really just look for the more like mom and pop or like independently owned discount stores that are kind of maybe a little bit seedy,
So so when you say cleared out, how much shoe polish are we talking about?
Yeah. So what is, I can never say the name of the brand, Meltonian or Meltonian. I don't know. I can't pronounce it right, but a lot of their products are discontinued. So I like their shoe polish and they have so many products that you can make a lot of money on. So make sure you look for that stuff.
Well, it's kind of like the Doc Martens has like this polish too that you can't find. So if you find it, you can make good money on. So I've never seen it, but I've had people tell me, hey, keep an eye out for this Orlando. Da, 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 da. So, okay. So I see that you share a lot on Instagram, right? I do. And and a lot of people, like I've seen you share like the Starbucks drops. And once you share, and nothing against you, once you share, I'm like, I'm not going to go look for that anymore. Right. And sometimes you probably are sharing after the fact, or do you find that like you're still okay when you share it on Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel good about what I share on there. So I do have a YouTube channel. So stuff because I have lot less people that watch my YouTube compared to like my IG stories, Instagram stories. So something that I really want to put out there, but I don't want to put it out for the masses, I'll put it on YouTube.
Interesting. Because you had those thrifty ice cream scoops you had mentioned. And
on YouTube,
on YouTube, and those did well, right?
Yeah, they did well, and now they're not doing so well. So,
but I don't think it's because I just think it's just people. No. It just the word spread, and eventually enough people found out about it that scarcity was no longer the issue anymore. You know?
Right. Exactly.
So where can our listeners find your YouTube so that way if they want to get those drops, your YouTube channel hopefully won't be so small after this, but where do they find you? What's your name on that?
It's Thrift to Travel. It's the same as my Instagram.
Perfect. Cool. So check out Thrift to Travel and you will find the drops that people aren't finding yet, and you'll be able to make a ton of money.
I think Jen should have a Bolo group. I'm just no. I'm sorry. That's so anti PHP podcast. No, we're okay. We're all good. We're all good with Bolo groups, but I would say of all the ones that I'd be intrigued by would be yours.
I have my own opinion about Bolo groups, and so I kind of look at my YouTube channel as like my subs are like my Bolo group in a way.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so talk to us about your most random find, like something that you're just blown away, like you're like you doubt you never see it. Do you have anything like that you can want to share?
It was so funny because when I first started, I would like go on Craigslist and always look for stuff to flip. Like I was just so obsessed with flipping anything I could find. There were these college students selling this X-ray machine. I had no idea what it was, but they're like $50 for an X-ray machine thing. And so I went to their frat house and, picked it up. And I ended up selling it to like some foot doctor in East LA for $2,000.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. A frat house? What are they doing with it at a frat house?
You probably don't.
I know, right? They probably stole it from somebody.
And was there
beer money? So,
well, they got their $50. They could have had kegs upon kegs of $2,000 though.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
All right. So the X-ray machine, were you concerned at all? Like, did eBay, was there any resistance or you just sold it pretty quick?
I probably shouldn't have done that. But this is back like, when you're first starting, you don't really know like what you're not supposed to do. What you're not supposed to sell.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody. Please do not sell any X-ray machines on eBay unless you're like a doctor.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody selling an X-ray machine. That's the first one.
Yeah, so I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I was at a thrift store one time.
Yeah,
I was at a thrift store one time and I saw some like dental equipment and it was like big machines. Like I'm talking like huge machines. And I was looking it up and they were selling for quite a bit. But I was like, man, I'm so afraid to like potentially try this. Just but honestly.
Yeah,
it's one of those things, like you said, when you're first starting off, you're a little naive, and sometimes that can pay off for you. So,
okay, I want to know the story though.
I was totally naive back in the day. Totally naive. Yeah.
I want to know the frat house story. So, was it? I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking like one of those movies, crazy college party. Was it just mellow? You just showed up and just the guy's like, "Here's an X-ray machine." You're like $50, and they're like, "All right, good." Did it just go that way, or did you? I remember one.
No, that's
Okay, that's it. Okay, because when I bought a bunk bed one time, I went to a frat house and it was like the movies. Like I'm walking through this frat house and there's people like wasted in the corner, like people are partying, music's blaring, and I'm like, what is going on? And then on top of that, it was awkward because I had to back up a truck into this party, and it's like me and my boys, and we're like trying to haul this bed out of a frat house. So I haven't thought about that story in a long time. So, but yours was pretty chill, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it was like, it was pretty chill. Yeah. But we live in a college town, so they're everywhere. Yeah, these frat houses and college kids. It was.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about your top failures and your top successes.
I'm not selling, like, I'm trying to get away at, like, no more food. Because food expires. And so I found myself like with all this food product, I'm like, my husband's been drinking these K-Cups that expired, or best by date, I should say, from like 2016.
Mm.
So, I mean, poor him, but yeah. So I am learning with retail arbitrage not to do any more, like really strict about flipping like certain coffees and food and stuff. So, yeah.
Was there ever a haul that you?
I don't want to deal with. I'm sorry.
No, was there ever a haul that you dropped a whole bunch of money and then you're like, oh, we shouldn't have bought that? Did you ever have any scenarios like that?
Yeah, and that would be like food stuff. Yeah, because once it passes its best by date, and the months are like going, it's just like too stressful. And I don't know, so I'm just staying away from that kind of stuff now. And then like I can't donate it to the food bank because the best by dates passed, and yeah, so it doesn't like serve a purpose. But anyway, so yeah, I regret doing that. So probably wasted a lot of money on that.
And so this was a recent thing?
Pretty recent. Yeah, 2019, because I only started doing retail arbitrage in 2019, so that's pretty new.
Okay.
So
I can share that experience with you. I mean, I remember I bought a whole bunch of Starbucks Christmas coffee right when it went on clearance on Target. And I remember I dropped like $150. And I was fairly new on Amazon. I didn't know how strict the rules were on Amazon. And I'm like, this isn't going to expire. Like I have a good 3 months on this. And I think Amazon, if I'm right, it's 6 months. Like you can't send, I don't know. I could be wrong. I've stopped doing that too. Cause after that experience, I'm like, I'm not doing this again. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And then you get stressed out because everybody's taking it, and it's just like it's just too much stress. So I'm not doing that anymore. Learn to value the lesson. It's a good tax write-off, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you could take that loss, and at least lose some of what you have to pay on your taxes. That's nice. So question for you. I like to ask the listener or the people we're interviewing, if you could offer some life advice, right? So you resell, you've got a lot of experience in that. You're a world traveler, and you also have a 9-to-5 job. You're holding that down. You got a family, all these things. What are some of the things that you would say, if you could give like one or two, maybe it's resell related, but maybe it's not, just general, like what's the thing that you've learned to kind of live your life by, or life advice you would give a listener?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we didn't send you this question.
I ask every time, Orlando. You got to add it to the list.
Add it to the list. I like catching them on the spot. We're organic. We're real. So.
Yeah, no. This is fine. Yeah. So, in regards to reselling, I just feel like people are so scared, and that just hurts my heart because I just wish people would just go for it and just start doing it. And I get so many people that are, let's say, I'm just scared to start, or I don't know where to start, and I think that reselling just brings people so much financial freedom they don't even realize. So I really encourage people just to try it and put themselves out there and see what happens. And yeah, I mean, it changes lives. You going to a thrift store and buying something for $5 and flipping it for double, triple, whatever it can really change your life and, add extra income and freedom and stuff. I just wish, people need to just go for it.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. Yeah, just that encouragement. Because sometimes that is what holds people back, is just a little bit of fear. So just do it. It's better to do something and maybe fail a little bit than to not do anything.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, so I want to have a couple good notes that we end up closing on. So you've already dropped some major successes. I mean, you sold what was that machine? That Scientology machine? What do you call that again?
Oh, the e-meter. Yeah.
You sold an e-meter,
and I feel guilty about that. Like I shouldn't have done that. Because did you ever watch that show on A&E?
I watched the documentary that was on Netflix. I'm not sure.
Is it the one with Leah Remini? That one?
Yes.
Yeah, but
so bad.
But
I should have just trashed it.
Yeah,
no,
but you don't know too. Like some people are just collectors of that kind of thing. Like it's not necessarily like they're doing it and it's going to ruin their life. But they might just be like, you know what, this was a phase in history where like it was a big part of a lot of people's lives. And I think Scientology has definitely died out since then and is not, as big of a deal. So, there's probably some people who are just intrigued. I mean,
or it could have been a movie prop.
Yeah, it could have been a movie prop. I mean, I just listened to a podcast recently where a guy was he's like a professor and he studies and teaches about the plague. So people buy him like plague related memorabilia. And so, I mean, it could just be something like that where someone's like, this might be a strange thing that's a little controversial. However, there's people who just collect things and they're really interested in it. So,
yeah, that's true. That's so true.
All right, so we had the e-meter, we had the foot X-ray machine that you made a killing on. Do you have one more major score you'd like to share with us?
I think every day, just grinding every day is just.
Okay. So, all right, we'll go with that. I mean, I will say you are definitely in an excellent niche in the sense that like this is stuff that it takes a little bit of work, especially for I would say for me it would be because I usually thought of grocery stores were like the last place I shop because it's super expensive and there's usually nothing, right? But you found a way to make it happen. You also international found a way to make it happen. So hats off to you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So where do you see, this is the tough one. Here's another one to prep for, but I think you already prepped. Where do you see reselling going in the next few years? I mean, there's a lot going on right now. We got coronavirus, we have the economy and you've been selling some like hand sanitizers. Those are selling pretty well right now too. Where do you see reselling going?
Yes. So, what about this with Walmart? I mean, Walmart wants to start doing like selling stuff for sellers now, like Amazon Prime. Yep. Yeah. So I'm ready to try Walmart. Like, I want to see what that's going to be all about. I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out. So, I might look into that. It might be my next, because, Amazon is just like, they'll just like, one day you're in, the next day you're out. Yeah. So it's always with them. You just never know. I think it's always good to have multiple streams selling on different platforms just because you just never know. So yeah, I might try the Walmart thing, see how that goes.
Yeah, and I'm hoping those listeners that don't know what we're talking about is Walmart has started fulfillment only with vendors right now, but there's a possibility it'll open up to third-party sellers, and so we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
So. All right, Jen. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Sorry that we had some technical difficulties, but I think everything worked out and we provided a ton of value that probably hasn't been shared on other podcasts or avenues. So thank you, Jen.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I know my reselling is going to change because of you, so thank you.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I'm so happy. I can't wait to see how your trip goes and hopefully you share some stuff. Yeah. So. All
right, Jen. Well, if you want to find Jen, she is... Well, go ahead. What are you going to say? One more thing?
Oh, no, I'm good.
All right. So, hey, if you're looking for Jen, find her on Instagram. She is Thrift to Travel on Instagram and Thrift to Travel on YouTube. And with that being said, hey, make sure to be real,
be relevant,
and be reselling.
Peace.